कोरोना संक्रमण रोकबार राज्य सरकार अनेक आगुआ पदक्षेप ग्रहण करिसेंती। व्यापक सचेतनता कार्यक्रम हाथ को नहीं सहर पंचायत जाए सबुठी क्वारंटाइन सेंटर प्रतिष्ठा करा जायछि। या छड़ा लॉकडाउन जुगु असहाय दिन बजुरिया उठा दुकानी जेमिति कोनोसी असुविधार सम्मुखीन न हेबे सेने विभिन्न योजना मध्य करा जायछि। यह कहते आईसी मुख्य मुखपात्र सुब्रत बागची राज्य में कोरोना मुकाबला नहीं कि पदक्षेप नि आईसी मुख्य मुखपात्र सुब्रत बागची आलोचना करिसेंती सीएनएन न्यूज 18 एग्जीक्यूटिव एडिटर Zakka.
Dr. Subroto Bagchi is the chairman of the Odisha Skill Development Authority. He is also the chief spokesperson for the Odisha COVID-19 task force. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Bagchi, here on CNN News 18. First of all, I just outlined the number of cases and how well Odisha is doing. What is the secret? What is it that the state has done well and early in keeping the number of cases so low?
Thank you very much, but I must caution you that the way that the Honorable Chief Minister is continuously guiding us is not to take credit too early. And I think these are very early days. These are early days for not only a state like us, but also a country like India. But going back to your point, I think what has helped in these early days are four things, but those are very commonsensical things. I will also allude beyond those four things in terms of the strategic approach. The four things are clearly the early decision to lock down, the fearlessness with which we did the shutdown whenever we realized that there's a sensitive zone. The third thing is the strong, contact tracing, for which the entire machinery was actually put in place. And the fourth thing was clearly the communication, because we see this as a people's war. We don't see this as a government, set of steps any longer, because like the WHO Director General very aptly said that we have to approach COVID-19 as a whole of government and whole of society. We have to take that kind of an approach. But more importantly, I think the three things that are making the difference till now in Odisha and will continue to make a difference are, number one, we are taking a maximalist approach.
Okay.
When you deal with a crisis of an, humongous proportion, and you do not know the size and, the enormity of the firepower of the enemy, then you can't take a minimalistic approach in whatever you do.
Okay.
So we are taking a maximalist approach in everything we are doing. The second thing that we are very categorically doing is, we are not overstating the COVID-19 disease. Yes, we have to deal with the disease, but the implication of that disease is a humanitarian implication. So in everything that we are doing, the Honorable Chief Minister had made it very clear, think about the last man in the last mile. And
Sure.
You have to talk about not just the disease, but what the disease does. And the third thing, which is actually different for Odisha and fortunately for us, is the discipline with which you are going about it. Because of the long political stability, there is no confusion as to who is the captain of the ship, under whose direction everybody else has to line up. So those are the three things, maximalism, humanitarianism, and utter discipline.
But tell me this, Mr. Bagchi, your state, most states have this problem, and your state particularly so, about migrant labor. A large number of migrant labor from your state are stuck in different states around the country. How are you dealing with this problem, and is the state equipped to deal with what could possibly be a mass inflow of migrant labor as and when the lockdown is lifted?
I have personally hesitation about calling anybody labor. I think we need to take that word out of the lexicon.
Okay.
It is the workers. And we are, again, the state is taking a philosophical position here that don't treat them like migrant workers. Treat them like, children coming back to motherland. And they have as much right to be safe and to be fed as the most educated, the richest person in the state. So everybody has, in times of distress, everybody must be treated with respect. That's the first point. The second is, you very rightly said, it's an unfolding situation, and how well is the state prepared for it. I think preparation actually dovetails a strategic intent. The strategic intent is that these 5 lakh children of this soil have to be brought in safely, have to be quarantined, and they have to actually psychologically, they have to be assimilated back with their own friends and family. We are looking at bringing back 5 lakh, of our own kith and kin who are stranded in different parts of the country. And we think that we got this strategy right. We have mobilized the supply chain. We have done, there are 6,798 gram panchayats. We have empowered the gram panchayats and enlisted them because nobody knows the brother or a sister who's gone to NCR, gone to Maharashtra, gone to Tirupur better than their, people who played with them, people who grew up in the village with them. So we are enlisting the 6,798 gram panchayats, and I think that will make a huge difference to the state.
And I also have to ask you a question on the IT sector, because you are, of course, the founder of Mindtree, and many of our viewers will remember you as that. We had this sort of back and forth yesterday about, is the IT sector ready to work from home till the 31st of July? There was a clarification subsequently from the government on that. My question to you is twofold. One, is the IT sector going to permanently now look at work from home as a feasible option? And B, how do you see the industry itself changing and adapting in a post-COVID world?
So there are a couple of things. Let me, state that. One is I personally had the experience of dealing with 9/11. When 9/11 happened, Mindtree was just a 2-year-old company, and everything, the whole world came to a standstill. But from that experience, I can tell you that for the world economy to come back to a new normal, it took almost 4 years. So we need to understand that this story is not an IT story alone. I think there's an enormous global economic crisis that is in the offing, and we have to bear our part of the pain. But that said, I must tell 2 other things. One is that, the IT industry, if you look at it over the period of last 40, 50 years, first it was working with an on-site model. People used to work on-site. Then, because of immigration clampdown, the offshore model came up. And at that point in time, people said, will this work? But now we are going beyond the offshore model to a distributed model in which you can be anywhere. You don't need to go to work. Work will go to where you are. For that, the technology exists today, and the mindset that is required is more than available. Now, having said that, I must tell you that I am extremely optimistic about the IT sector because COVID will leave behind 3-4 things which are inevitable. One is that health will become the new frontier for global politics. So people will begin to look at health with more importance than people have looked at arms race, for example. So that has implication for IT. The second implication is that agriculture will take a new meaning because in times of crisis, you will still have to eat. The third thing is supply chain. Fourth is collaboration technology. And fifth, of course, because of the dangerous situation of infectious diseases, the whole idea of Internet of Technology, robotics, drones, all these things will bring in a new meaning. So net I am saying is that brace for a new normal, reorient, and I personally feel that IT is like utility. It's like water and electricity. You can't do without it. And India is the IT capital of the world. So I believe that this sector is one that we need to worry about far less.
All right. Thank you very much for this fascinating conversation as always. Mr. Subroto Bagchi, the spokesperson of the Odisha Task Force on COVID-19. Like I keep saying, if there is a Karnataka model and a Kerala model, then why not an Odisha model? Thank you very much and many congratulations for you and your team's effort.